Welcome back to Speak English Like a Pro, the place where we're all about making your English shine so brightly that you feel like you're owning every conversation. I'm your friendly English coach, and I'm absolutely pumped to have you here today. Whether you're just getting started with English or you're already chatting away but want to take your vocabulary to the next level, this video is your golden ticket. We're diving into a treasure chest of must know words that'll transform the way you speak, write, and even think in English. So grab a comfy seat, maybe a notebook if you're feeling inspired, and let's embark on this exciting journey to supercharge your vocabulary. Trust me, you're going to love this. Let's kick things off with a little story. A couple of years ago, I was working with a student named Sophia from Brazil. She was super smart, aced her English grammar tests, but she told me she felt like her words were holding her back. She'd say things like, "It's good," or "I like it, why do you?" But she wanted to express herself with more pizzazz, more personality. She'd hear native speakers throw around words like stunning or intriguing and think, why don't I sound like that? I totally got where she was coming from. When I was learning French, I'd listen to locals describe a meal as exquisite or a view as breathtaking, and I'd feel like my basic nice was falling flat. So I helped Sophia discover a handful of must know words that made her English pop, and today I'm sharing those secrets with you. These words are like spices in your cooking. They take your language from plain to unforgettable. So, what do I mean by must know words? These aren't just random vocabulary terms you'd find in a dusty dictionary. They're the kind of words native speakers use every day to sound expressive, confident, and natural. They're versatile, fitting into conversations about work, travel, friendships, or even your latest Netflix binge. The best part? You don't need to memorize thousands of words to make a difference. A few well chosen ones, used in the right way, can transform how you come across. Think about it. When you hear someone describe a movie as captivating instead of good, or a person as charismatic instead of nice, it grabs your attention, right? That's the power of a strong vocabulary, and I'm going to show you how to make it yours. Let's start with a word that's like a little burst of sunshine. Vibrant. This word means full of life, energy, or color, and it's perfect for describing anything that feels lively. You could say a party was vibrant, a city's culture is vibrant, or even that your friend's personality is vibrant. My student Ahmed from Egypt fell in love with this word. He was studying in London and wanted to describe the street markets he visited. Instead of saying they're busy, he started saying, the markets are so vibrant. It painted a picture, and his classmates were hooked on his stories. He told me it made him feel like he was finally expressing the excitement he felt. Try using vibrant to describe something you love, like it's like adding a splash of paint to your words. Another word that's a total game changer is intriguing. It means something that sparks curiosity or fascination, like a mystery novel or an unusual idea. You could say, that documentary was so intriguing, or her perspective is really intriguing. My student Maria from Mexico used this word to stand out in her university discussion groups. She'd describe a topic as intriguing instead of interesting, and her professors noticed her confidence. She said it felt like she was inviting people into her thoughts, not just stating them. When you use intriguing, it's like dangling a shiny lure in a conversation. People can't help but bite. Now, let's talk about a word that adds a touch of elegance: exquisite. This one's perfect for describing something beautiful or finely crafted, like a piece of jewelry, a dessert, or even a moment. You might say, the sunset was exquisite, or this cake is absolutely exquisite. My student Raj from Pakistan discovered this word when he was writing a review for a restaurant. Instead of the food was good, he wrote, the flavors were exquisite. His review got tons of likes online, and he said it boosted his confidence to keep experimenting with words. Exquisite is like a velvet ribbon on your English. It makes everything feel a bit fancier. Another must know word is resilient. It describes someone or something that bounces back from challenges, like a person who stays strong through tough times, or a plant that thrives in harsh weather. You could say, she's so resilient after everything she's been through, or this community is incredibly resilient. My student Elena from Russia connected with this word deeply. She was studying abroad and faced homesickness, but she described herself as resilient in a journal entry. It became her personal mantra, and she started using it to encourage her friends too. When you use resilient, it's like giving a nod to strength and perseverance. It carries weight and heart. Let's switch gears to a word that's all about charm: charismatic. This one describes someone who's magnetic, who draws people in with their energy or personality. You might say, he's such a charismatic speaker, or her charismatic smile lights up the room. My student Carlos from Peru loved this word. He was preparing for a job interview and wanted to describe his favorite mentor. Instead of, he's nice, and he said, he's incredibly charismatic. And the interviewer was impressed by his word choice. Carlos said it made him feel like he was painting a vivid picture, not just answering a question. Charismatic is like a spotlight. It makes whoever you're describing shine. Another word that's super versatile is serene. It means calm, peaceful, or tranquil, and it's great for describing places, moments, or even people. You could say, the lake was so serene at dawn, or she has a serene way of handling stress. My student Priya from India used this word to describe her yoga sessions. Instead of they're relaxing, she'd say, Vashinan, the sessions are so serene. Her friends started asking her to teach them yoga just because her description sounded so inviting. Serene is like a gentle breeze in your vocabulary. It soothes and refreshes. Now let's talk about a word that adds a dash of mystery: enigmatic. This one describes something or someone puzzling or hard to figure out in a cool way. You might say, that painting is so enigmatic, or he's got an enigmatic charm. My student Fatima from Turkey discovered this word while reading a novel. She loved how it described a character who kept everyone guessing, and she started using it to talk about art or people she found fascinating. She said it made her feel like a storyteller, adding depth to her conversations. Enigmatic is like a velvet curtain. It hints at something intriguing behind it. Another word that's a must know is eloquent. It describes someone who speaks or writes beautifully with clarity and grace. You could say, her speech was so eloquent, or he's an eloquent writer. My student Hana from Japan used this word to compliment her professor's lectures. Instead of they're good, she said, they're so eloquent. And her classmates agreed. She told me it made her feel more confident in her own speaking, like she was aiming for that kind of polish. Eloquent is like a polished gem. It reflects thoughtfulness and skill. Let's add a word that's full of energy: dynamic. This one describes something lively, forceful, or constantly changing, like a person, a performance, or an idea. You might say, she's such a dynamic leader, or the meeting was really dynamic. My student Diego from Argentina used this word to describe his new job. Instead of, it's busy, he said, the team is so dynamic. And his enthusiasm caught his boss's attention. Dynamic is like a spark plug, it ignites energy in your descriptions. Another fantastic word is whimsical. It means playful, quirky, or fanciful, often with a touch of magic. You could say, the shop had a whimsical decor, or her stories are so whimsical. My student Omar from Saudi Arabia loved this word. He used it to describe a cafe he visited, saying, the place felt so whimsical with its fairy lights. His friends started asking him to pick their next hangout spots because his descriptions were so vivid. Whimsical is like a sprinkle of fairy dust. It adds a touch of delight. So, how do you make these words part of your life? The secret is to use them in ways that feel natural, not like you're showing off. My student Sophia, who I mentioned earlier, started by picking one word a day and weaving it into her conversations. She'd describe her morning coffee as exquisite, or a friend's joke as hilarious instead of funny. At first, it felt a bit bold, but soon it was second nature. She said it was like trying on new clothes. Each word gave her a fresh way to express herself. Try this yourself. Pick a word like vibrant or serene and use it today, maybe in a text, an email, or just talking to yourself in the mirror. Another way to lock these words in is to see them in action. Watch English movies, TV shows, or YouTube vlogs and listen for words like these. My student Ahmed loved watching travel vlogs, and he'd hear words like breathtaking or picturesque used to describe landscapes. He started using them to talk about his own trips, like saying a sunset was breathtaking instead of beautiful. It made his stories come alive, and his friends were all ears. Listening to real English is like getting a front row seat to how words are used naturally, which beats flipping through a dictionary any day. You can also write with these words to make them stick. My student Maria kept a journal where she'd describe her day using new vocabulary. She'd write things like, the park was serene this evening, or my coworker's idea was intriguing. It was a simple habit, but it helped her internalize the words. She said it felt like she was crafting little stories about her life, which made English more fun. Try writing a short paragraph about your day using a word like charismatic or eloquent. It's like giving your thoughts a makeover. Another trick is to tie words to things you already know. Your brain loves connections, so use them to your advantage. My student Raj linked resilient to his favorite athlete who kept pushing through injuries. Every time he used the word, he'd picture that athlete's grit, and it made the word stick. He started calling his own efforts resilient, like when he stayed up late studying. Try this with a word like whimsical. Maybe think of a quirky movie or a playful friend. It's like creating a mental sticky note for your vocabulary. Let's talk about repetition, but not the boring kind. Instead of drilling words like you're cramming for a test, use them in different situations. My student Elena learned dynamic and used it to describe her dance class, her boss's presentation, even a lively debate with friends. By spreading the word across her life, it became part of her natural speech. She said it was like planting seeds in different gardens. They all grew strong. Try using a word like intriguing in a few contexts, like a book, a conversation, or a news story. It'll feel like yours in no time. Another way to make these words yours is to share them with someone. Teaching a word to a friend or family member forces you to really get it. My student Carlos taught his sister charismatic by describing their favorite singer. He'd say, "She's so charismatic on stage," and explain why. It made them both laugh, and Carlos said it helped him remember the word better than any flashcard. Try telling someone about a vibrant place you visited or an eloquent speech you heard. It's like passing on a cool secret. Don't be afraid to play with these words, even if it feels a bit silly. My student Priya loved making up sentences with whimsical, like, "My cat's whimsical dance with a feather was the highlight of my day." It cracked her up, and that joy made the word stick. She started using it to describe quirky moments, like a friend's odd hat or a funny cartoon. Playing with words is like doodling in a sketchbook. It's creative and fun. Try making up a goofy sentence with enigmatic or serene and see how it feels. Let's talk about confidence because that's a huge part of transforming your vocabulary. Sometimes learners hesitate to use new words because they're worried about sounding weird or getting it wrong. I get it. It's like wearing a bold new outfit for the first time. But here's the thing, native speakers love when you use expressive words. My student Fatima was nervous about saying eloquent in a presentation, thinking it might sound too fancy. But when she described a colleague's idea as eloquent, everyone nodded in agreement, and she felt on top of the world. Start small. Use vibrant in a casual chat or intriguing in a text. It's like dipping your toes in before diving in. Mistakes are part of the journey, and they're nothing to stress about. My student Hannah once called a boring lecture exquisite by accident, and her friends teased her about it, but she laughed it off and learned to save exquisite for special moments, like describing a perfect dessert. Mistakes are like speed bumps. They slow you down for a second, but you keep driving. I once told a Spanish friend a story was embarrassing when I meant funny, and we had a good chuckle. If you misuse a word like resilient or dynamic, just smile and try again. It's all part of growing. Another way to boost your vocabulary is to read, even just a little. Books, articles, or even social media posts in English are packed with words like these. My student Diego started reading travel blogs and noticed words like picturesque and tranquil. He'd use them to describe his own adventures, like a picturesque hike or a tranquil beach. Reading is like wandering through a word garden. You pick up new blooms without even trying. Try a short article or a fun Instagram caption and see what words catch your eye. You can also listen to music or podcasts to hear these words in action. My student Omar loved English pop songs and picked up captivating from a lyric about a love story. He started using it to describe movies or books, like, "That plot was so captivating." It made him sound like a critic, and he loved it. Podcasts are great too. Shows like The Moth or TED Radio Hour use words like eloquent or dynamic naturally. Listening is like eavesdropping on native speakers, soaking up their word choices without a textbook in sight. As you keep using these words, you'll notice something amazing. Your English starts to feel like you. It's like finding your voice in a new language. My student Sophia had a moment like this when she called a festival vibrant during a presentation. Her classmates clapped, and she said it felt like she was finally speaking her heart in English. That's what these must know words do. They let you express your thoughts, your feelings, your personality. Whether you're joking with friends or pitching an idea at work, these words give you the tools to shine. One final story to send you off. My student Raj moved to Canada and felt like his basic vocabulary wasn't cutting it. He started watching my videos and practicing words like charismatic and serene. A year later, he was giving a speech at his company, describing his team as dynamic and their vision as intriguing. His boss called it eloquent, and Raj beamed with pride. He told me, "These words made me feel like I belong in English." That's my wish for you, to feel like English is your playground, where you can build, create, and express anything. So here's my challenge. Pick one word from this video and make it yours today. Maybe call your favorite cafe vibrant or a book intriguing. Use it in a sentence, share it with a friend, or write it down. Drop a comment below and tell me your word. I'm dying to know. Hit that like button, subscribe to Speak English Like a Pro, and share this with someone who's ready to transform their English. You're not just learning words, you're becoming a pro. I'll see you in the next video where we'll keep making English your superpower. Until then, stay awesome, stay curious, and speak English like a pro. Bye for now.